Hey guys, I'm going to show you how to add loads of movement into your synths with a song that only has 11 tracks. So you don't need to be having stacks and stacks and stuff in your song to make an impact. And I want to show you exactly how I've done it in my own song today, Feel the Enemy. Now this song is a piano ballad, I guess, but I wanted to bring it to the 21st century, specifically to 2021 and further, future thinking of ballads. And to do that, I wanted to add a lot of electronic elements, but subtly, so that it didn't remove from the emotion of the piano and vocal. And to do that, I think it required a lot of manual movement in the synths. And I want to show you how using a small amount of synths, but lots of programming, lots of automation, and quite a bit of hands-on, I guess, as well, adds that human element to what is otherwise quite a digital source. So this is the point of the song we're going to be looking at in question. Cool, you can hear those synths are really moving around in the background, and I've done a lot of the automation, or a lot of the movement that you hear, so that they're not stale, so they're not boring. You know, when you're using a limited amount of instruments, you want to keep the interest there, keep the listener hooked, but also allow it to still move, allow it to have progression and take people on a journey. That's the most important thing with our music. So I'm going to show you exactly how I did that with 2 synths and 1 vocoder. Okay, so those saw pads have so much movement, so let's start there. This is a really basic setup, actually. I almost don't want to admit how basic the setup is, but it's using Serum, which I absolutely love. It's a poly synth. Let me just remove everything from it so that you can hear it in its rawest form. So you can hear on its own, it's a little bit stale, it's cool, but it's not super interesting. So the first thing I did was sidechain it to the kick. Now, sidechaining means that this synthesizer is going to listen to another piece of audio, in this case the kick drum, and whenever the kick drum happens, it suppresses, or, well, specifically sidechaining would listen to the kick drum, and in this case with the compression, compress the sound every time the kick drum happens, and it will kind of dip the audio. You'll hear this kind of dip and then back up into the normal volume. For this to make sense to anybody that's not necessarily bothered about the technical terms, what we're doing is using the dip to allow for the kick drum to be heard for that split moment. But what I love about it is it adds movement to the synthesizer. So then, every time the kick drum happens, you have this. You can hear that dip. I need to add a short interval in the fact that it's absolutely pouring with rain here, so if you can hear white noise in the background on this microphone, I do apologise. So next thing I wanted to do was add some effects, and I wanted to make it wider, and I used this little trick using this sample delay, and you'll hear the difference when I turn it off and on. And what this is doing is delaying the left side and right side ever so slightly from one another, which creates this really wide effect. So this is it with it off. And this is on. Now if you're wearing headphones, hopefully you heard that. Add a couple more things and a filter, and away we go. Now the bass is where I think we've got a lot of exciting stuff happening. I love this bass sound, so let me remove all of these. Now that sound, again, is built within Splice. It's not a stock Splice sound, just in case you're going to be looking for it, but it's a very, very cool sound. Adding a little bit of EQing, and then a little bit of soothe, just to soften it. Again, I'm sidechaining soothe to the lead vocal so that it's not getting in the way of the vocal, so those frequencies aren't fighting one another. And the same with the saw pad, so that the bass isn't interfering with those beautiful pads we just heard as well. Now, where I think this gets interesting is actually in the automation, and you can see there's a lot of it. Now, I did this automation manually in a performance mode. When you switch to latch, anything that you do, anything that you touch, in fact, let's just do a little bit. when it's in latch mode, look, I'm going to change the volume. Can you see that it is reprogramming that volume to whatever? Now, when I play that back, not touching anything, you'll see the volume moving up and down. Very, very cool. And a great way for you to play with the settings within your plugins. Now, in this scenario, I am using the filter within Serum. So if I play this, you can see the filter there, and you'll see this filter here on Serum moving around. This adds the movement. There you go, you can hear it opening up. Now when that lands on that big moment, let's just hear it all in context. This is leading into the chorus. So much movement there. And again, you can hear it now, still moving around. And I just love it. And by the time you add in the saw and everything else, the saw pad, by the way, should I add? When you add the pad and this synth together, plus all of that automation of the compression, the side chaining, everything like that, just these two in themselves. So much movement there. And it sounds huge. My mixing guy, Carl, when he got the files for this, he did an amazing job with this song. He assumed I had layers and layers of synthesizers. I didn't. I just had lots of movement and just lots of focus on these particular synths. And I think it's done wonders for the song. Now, I do want to add in as well, there is a vocoder happening in this song.
Oh, when you need a friend, I'm the only one. I can feel the enemy now, racing down my body.
And of course, this vocal synth is also adding a layer of synthesizers, synthesis, I guess, to the song as well. So keep that in mind. There's kind of 3 synthesizers happening at once, but very minimal when you listen to the song. You assume there's a lot more happening, but the beauty of it is just that automation, keeping things moving. So I hope that's been helpful. If you want to check out that song and listen with a bit more context now that you know what's happening, the song is called Feel the Enemy. It's out on Spotify now, George Holliday with 2 L's. Go check it out. And if you've had a listen, let me know down in the comments below. Let me know what else you would like me to give you a tutorial on. Tutorial on. If there's any songs that I've worked on that have been released and there's anything specific that you want to know how I did it, let me know down in the comments below. But until next time, stay safe, look after each other, and remember, never stop creating.